Hi, I'm Janine. Today I'm just going to give you a quick update on several of my most recent projects. It's early January and bitterly cold here in Western Canada. We've had a rough couple of weeks. At the moment it's minus 26 Celsius, and yeah, that's as cold as it sounds. There's also a wind chill, so I haven't been spending a lot of time outside, but I have been spending a lot of time in the sewing room. And this year, I'm going to be providing more regular YouTube videos because, primarily, we're settled. We're in the house. I have a really great sewing room. I'm working, and I have a bit more of a routine. Because I'm working, and we're kind of settled, I really need to add to my wardrobe. So I am going to be sewing quite a bit this year. So if you want to follow along and you haven't already subscribed, just hit the little subscribe button and the bell and you'll be notified when I post videos. But enough about that. First thing I'm going to tell you about is this sweater that I'm wearing. And this is a free pattern. It was originally called the Jalie Yoko. Now it is the Émilie, and I'm going to put the link down below. This fabric is a wool blend, and I got this at a local fabric store that happens to be on the way home from work. It's a wool blend. The good side is this geometric print, and then the back is a really soft, fuzzy wool. You could wear it either way. The wool is not itchy. I've got sensitive skin and it does not seem to cause any problems for me. And I've worn this 3 times, like all day, and I haven't had any itching problems. So when I bought this, I mean, I still can't tell if it's navy or it's black. I think it's navy, but there's pink fuzz. I think it's navy, but it might be black, so I did use navy thread on it. But I'm going to stand up and show you a little bit about the pattern and me wearing the sweater and a little problem that I created for myself. The last version that I made of this was a lighter weight sweater knit. This one has, you can see there like creases because the fabric's a little bit heavier. And you may also notice this very nice design feature right here, which was a cutting mistake. I guess I wasn't thinking when I was laying out the fabric. I placed the front piece not on the fold. I placed it on the fold, but I had the fold on the side, so I had it flipped. Don't ask me how I did that. Well, I have an idea how I did it, but I had cut what I thought was the arm side and across the top when I realized I had it wrong. So I didn't have enough fabric to lay it out again and recut it. So I wound up with these little curves right here and thought that maybe I would put kind of a curve there. I couldn't get it to stitch on right. So instead I thought, maybe I should just mimic the design of the fabric. So I cut along the line of the print and took advantage of the double-faced fabric and just inserted a piece of the fabric backwards. So it is a design feature, and it's one of those things where I was really kicking myself afterwards. I don't know what I was thinking. The only other change that I made to the pattern as printed, same change that I made last time I made it, I have just made the opening of the neck band a little bit higher. So the neck is actually shaped like this, which means that there is more space. So you can wear the neck like this, or you can wear it folded down. Tight turtlenecks just really make me claustrophobic, so I avoid them whenever I can. Cozy, good sweater. It's gonna get a lot of wear this winter, that's for sure. I washed it in warm water and dried it in the dryer, so I should be able to do that the whole time without it shrinking. Project number 2. as a gift for myself with a gift card that I had received, I bought myself Jenny Rushmore's new book, Ahead of the Curve. Jenny Rushmore is Cashmerette Patterns, and I have a few pattern fitting books, and honestly, I just find them really hard to follow because there are way too many words. I like things that are very simple to follow. I would rather see good drawings and bullet points than have to read a paragraph about something. And this book completely fits the bill for me. So she's got things like this FBA for knit garments without a dart. And you can see there are good, clear drawings, not bullet points, number points, but really simple to follow. The kind of thing that you can digest when you're standing there looking at a pattern, and you don't have to sit down and do a bunch of math. You have to do some math, but maybe because I sew things that aren't as complex, I am happy with really simple instructions on how to adjust things. So I was super excited to have this book, and the first thing that I decided to try out of it is this FBA for a knit. In my last video, I showed you the Maven Somerset tee that I had made up in cotton jersey, and I decided I wanted to make another one of those and use the instructions from this book on how to adjust it. So I did this dartless FBA, and the only place you can tell, I hope you can see this, my top hand is the front. This is the side seam. You can see that there's some gathering there. So what you do is you add a little bit of fabric and gather it in at the side to catch the fullness of the bust. And then you add a little bit of length to the front so that it doesn't ride up, because of course that's always a problem. And I made up another Somerset in this double brush poly that I got at Fabric Mart about 2 years ago. I really like the Somerset pattern. I especially love the sleeves and the cuffs. Now that the weather is really cold, it's so nice to not have to hang on to your cuff when you are putting on your winter coat. And it's also just kind of cute. So I used the FBA from Jenny's book and made this up. I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures of me wearing it. But again, it's a great pattern, and I really liked the adjustment. So I'll certainly be using that again, because honestly, I sew so many knit tops, and it's nice to have them be kind of fitted and not just loose. So that was the second project that I did up, and I wanted to show you. Project number 3. We just went through the Christmas season, and I did want something kind of festive to wear, but I'm not a huge fan of buying or making yourself something just because it's ugly, the ugly sweater. When I was at Out of Hand looking at this fabric, I noticed that they had a number of Liberty Tana cotton lawns, including some that were Christmas prints. Not all Christmas prints are created equal. The Liberty prints that they had were either juvenile or they're not Christmassy at all. So I took advantage of a sale and spent a chunk of cash on a really nice piece of fabric. This is technically a Liberty Christmas print. I think it's called Little Stars. I'll put the information below. But I bought this and made another version of the Cashmerette Harrison shirt because I didn't change anything this time around, except the last time I made it, I noted that the circumference of the sleeves from the elbow to the cuff were a little tight for me. So I added 1/3 of an inch, and that's it. Otherwise, I just cut and sewed exactly the same way as I did the last time. I did do a better job of the plackets above the sleeves this time because I read the instructions. And I added a little tiny Kylie in the Machine label where the yoke joins the shirt, because this truly is a one-off. So this was my Christmas shirt, and I'm going to wear this all winter because I just don't think it looks like Christmas. It's a nice bright color, but it does, you know, it's not red and green. They say that this is a red fabric. I think it's mostly pink, but it just doesn't have anything that says that it's just a Yuletide fabric. So this was my big splurge and my holiday shirt for this year. The pattern calls for 12 buttons, and I used these really fun shank buttons that were from a big bag that I picked up at an estate sale in Atlanta. Turned out well. I didn't have to go out in cold weather and find another button. So this is my Christmas shirt. I do like that pattern. If you're a little curvier and you want a button-down shirt, definitely I'd say take a look at this Cashmere at Harrison pattern. The final thing that I'm going to show you, as I mentioned, my darling husband has made me a wonderful sewing table that I'm going to show you in the next video. But he was working on that in the worst of the first cold snap, and he was complaining that it was cold all the time. So while he was working on that, I decided to make him something cozy to wear, and remembered that I had a copy of October magazine from July 2017. And this was actually sent to me by a lovely member of Pattern Review named Pammy J. She just sent it to me because she had an extra. And I finally had time to flip through it and found that there was a sweatshirt pattern here for men. Raglan sleeves with darts in the shoulder, a band at the neck, at the cuffs, and at the waist. And they actually suggest you use your cover stitch for the decorative stitching. Perfect. So I went out and picked up a remnant of fleece. I couldn't find sweatshirt fabric, but I picked up a remnant of fleece at Fabricland. Fabric is very expensive here. I felt quite fortunate to find some fleece that was only $6 a meter, because things are some places fabric's really expensive. Not factoring in the exchange rate, just talking about straight dollars. So I found a piece of fleece that wasn't quite ideal, and I cut the pattern a little bit bigger than was needed to allow for minimal stretch on the fleece. And this is what I wound up with. This is called, I should tell you what pattern it was. It's the Cloud Gray Sweatshirt, right here. And you'll see that the instructions are scant. So I don't think October is good for those who are brand new to sewing. But if you have some experience, read the instructions and then just figure out in your own head how it should be sewn together. So this is what we have. I used the top cover stitch feature on my machine for the first time extensively. And this is from the pattern. You do this little bit of design feature at the front neck. For the top looper, I used a variegated thread so it would kind of show up. And it turned out pretty well. There we go. Stitching along the sleeves and at the neck and at the lower band. I actually sewed this on the sewing machine, not on the serger. I don't know why. I should have serged it, shouldn't I? But I didn't. Anyways, it went together really quickly. Even the first time around, I think it was 4 hours. I've since made a second one for him, and that one took about 3 hours. This has been worn and washed many times just in the last month. So it was a good little bribe for him to finish my sewing table. I'm going to stick up a picture here of the other one. Again, it was also made with a remnant and he's worn it a dozen times. I'd show it to you, but it's in the wash right now. So that's all I wanted to show you for today, and I have talked a lot longer than I thought I would, and I hope that you are well and those around you are well. And I know we all thought we would be so long through this. It's been almost 2 years, but we just keep chugging along, and all we can do is just make the best of things. So if you ever need a hit of optimism, come here, because I'm always going to be optimistic. I will see you in a couple of weeks when I show you my new sewing room setup. Thanks for watching. Stay well. I'll see you soon.